Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. This is Essential Patience and I am Patience. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about how you give people power over your life. This is the topic that I've definitely been meaning to cover because I really think that in this social media age, a lot of us are giving our power to other people, whether it is people that you know personally, people that you're acquainted with, or people that you've never even met in your life. Relationship that people are having with people that they've never met is crazy. It's definitely at an all-time high. And so let's talk about it in a more personal way, however. How to stop giving people power over your life. We may be doing it without even noticing. So let's get into it. But remember to first like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring the notification bell because I post 2 videos a week. So let's get straight into it. How do you give people power over your life? One of the first and most common ways is being financially dependent on other people. Think back to your childhood. Who did you rely on? Most of us, it was our parents. It could have been also family members, other family members. Whoever was your guardian, you were financially dependent on them. You give them a level of power over your life, but that's childhood. We, of course, don't know a lot. We are still growing, so we need them to guide us into being more prepared for the world. It gets to some point where you have to start making your own financial decisions or start making certain decisions that determine your life. And depending on whether you have the finances or not, you will have to give over some power of your life to them. So for example, let's say you want to go to university, and I've heard of this situation in a lot of African households and even American too, typically an immigrant household. So let's say your parents want to pay for your degree or help you pay for your education. But in order for you to do so, you have to major in something that they want you to major in. Now, whether they're right or wrong about the major, the point is that if you wanted to do anything else beyond what they approve and beyond what they want you to major in, you're gonna have to figure out your own way. And so being able to be financially good in that area, which a lot of us are not. I went to college at 17 years old, and my story was definitely different. I have several videos on it, but I did pay my way through college through scholarship, through having internship jobs. So I graduated debt free. But what it did give me was a lot of independence over my career choice, and definitely over my classes, what classes I took, my grades, were they good enough for me? Because I was literally footing the bill. So if you don't have that, you have to relinquish some power, which makes sense, right? If your parents are paying for your school, they want to see your grades, they want to see how you're doing. Maybe if they saw you at a party, they're going to complain about it because it's like, we're paying for you to go do this, not this. Versus if you're paying it yourself, then it's slightly different conversation. Same with if you were living with your parents at an older age, you're going to have to give away some power because you can't just do what you want in their house. Same with if you're borrowing money from people, you are under their generosity in order to live. So being financially independent, especially in that age, is very important. Now, I don't expect an 18-year-old to be financially dependent, or even a 20 or 20, but once you graduate college, you should strive for financial independence, especially if you're trying to take a route that other people may or may not agree. Luckily, when I graduated, I was in a very unique position where I could pick the job that I want. I could easily move because I wasn't dependent on anybody financially. So my choices were very wide. Now, would I have had the same choices if I wasn't financially independent? Probably not, because moving costs money, getting an apartment costs money, even furnishing the apartments was a lot. So those are things that if you don't have financial control over, you would have to relinquish that power to other people. So think about how in your life you're giving financial control, or you're being financially controlled by somebody else. If you rely on people exclusively to fund your life and to fund your lifestyle, you are more likely than not giving away that power. Now, of course, there are different situations where it can be slightly different. For example, if you're married and you have a combined household, but let's say you're a stay-at-home mom or taking time off right now and not working. Now, it should be different. The only thing that would get icky is if you can't make any financial decisions in the house. Now, that's a problem. But you're married, you should be combining finances, meaning you should be making the decisions together, no matter who makes more, who makes less, or who is staying at home and who is working full time. The decision should be mutual, sanity should reign, and financial literacy should be the center of the decisions. But beyond finances, when you also seek validation, you are sometimes giving power of your life over to other people. Now, for me, I think I'm big on validation from God, but nobody else. I'm like, why don't I care too much about what other people say? Like, I make my decisions and I just go through with them. I listen to people and I listen to advice, of course. Like, I'm always open to other people's advice. But at the end of the day, I've always been the type of person that I've always just done what I choose and pray on and feel good. And I just go with it. Whether it was the university I went to, career path I chose, how I navigated college, it was a lot of my own decision. I think it was mostly just like I talked it through with people, but I'd already made up my mind in different ways. Like I was confused, I just prayed on it, and I just feel like this was the decision God wanted me to make, and I just chose it, right? Even going back to grad school, like a lot of those decisions, especially in my life today, I just make them on my own. And I'm open to advice, but I don't seek validation to do better and to take my life in the direction that I want it to go and that I feel like is following God's purpose for my life. When you try and seek validation from everybody in every decision that you make, not only can it become a habit and make it hard for you to make an adult decision on your own, but then also you give people way too much influence into your life and what you should do. Ask yourself, why does this decision matter? For me, it was like, okay, going back to school, who is really the main stakeholder in this, right? It's me. It's me, because who's going to have to do the schoolwork? It's me. I don't have kids. I don't have a husband. So, of course, if I had a husband, then it would be different. It would be a joint collective decision. What, for example, my sister thinks about me going to grad school doesn't matter because she's not the one who's going to have to do the work. She's not the one who's paying for it. She's not the one who is going to be up sleepless nights. What does this person's decision or opinion of my life matter so much to me? You still want to be respectful to people if they're a stakeholder in your life. I'm taking this class, Systems Engineering Processes, and we talk about stakeholders and the different types of stakeholders. So we have one that's like high interest, high power, low interest, low power, high interest, low interest, high power. So these are the different types of stakeholders, right? So what kind of stakeholder would that be in your life? Now, if you're in high school, your parents would be considered a high interest and high power stakeholder in your life, right? Because they're footing the bills of your everyday life and they're interested in your education. So they're high power, high interest. And then they're literally your legal guardian, right? But once you become an adult in your life where you're paying your own bills, where you're making your own decisions, where you are having your own goals of what your life should look like, you are the main high interest, high power stakeholder. Oh, is it God? Don't follow God. But, beyond God, it will be you, right? And so you have to ask yourself, why does this person's opinions matter so much to me? And if it's anything beyond what is sensible, you may want to start taking a look at why you care so much, because somebody's decision upon your life that you're living and footing the bill for shouldn't be as much as giving them power to decide something like going back to school, changing careers. What do you think? What do you want for your life? And the reason why you want to really tackle that issue is because it leads to a lack of boundaries issue. I probably heard a lot of people who talk about, my mother-in-law wants to come and make decisions in my house, or parents are very invasive in their life, even as an adult, where they are feeling like they're being controlled even though they're not relying financially on their parents. Why is that? Sometimes it's because of the lack of boundaries in your life. Now, parents are great and wonderful people. What are your boundaries like? How much power are you giving to people in breaking your boundaries? Are you reinforcing your boundaries? Or are you just letting it go for people to walk all over? You have to live with yourself 24/7. So you have to find out what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with. And beyond the decisions that you make and have other people influence, you're the one who's going to have to walk through with it. Let's say you want to go to university and your family say, become a doctor, right? But you don't want to become a doctor. Let's say you want to become a lawyer. Remember that you're the one who's going to have to do the studying, taking the exams, taking the MCAT, going to medical school, doing your residency, become a doctor, and live with the fact that you are, in fact, a doctor, not a lawyer. How much power are you really giving to people to make those decisions? And the reason why boundaries come into that play, especially as an adult, you want to start making decisions that you can live with. The decisions that were made for us as kids that we don't like, realize that maybe you probably didn't have the power to make that decision. Somebody made it for you, you had to go through with it. But after you become an adult and you're fully funding your life and you are making and living those decisions that you make, understand that you're going to have to take accountability for those decisions. In the court of law, you're an adult. You don't have a guardian. Whatever decisions that you make, you're going to have to live with it. What are my boundaries in people making decisions for me? Do I want to give them a little bit of influence? How much influence? Communicate those boundaries. I'm going to make this decision for myself. Maybe you want to go live in a different state. And somebody's like, no, you can't do that. Like, abandon your family. Ask yourself, who is making this decision for me? And why do I have to relinquish what I want to them? Different stakeholders. If you're married with a spouse, it's of course both joint decisions. If you have kids, you have to obviously consider them. If it's a friend, family member, what type of boundaries are you going to set to make sure that your decisions are your decisions? Remember that no is very important. If you always say yes and you always allow opinions to influence your life or people to live vicariously through you, you might feel used to reach a point in your life where you feel like you have not lived for yourself. You set boundaries and reinforce the boundaries so that you don't give people power over your life. Speaking of reinforcing your boundaries, is making sure that you don't reinforce bad behavior. When I was in psychology, we learned about positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Negative doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Positive doesn't mean it's a good thing. But what it means is how likely is it for bad behavior or good behavior to reoccur? So let's say a kid throws a temper tantrum and you give them a candy. Well, you've positively reinforced that behavior, so it's more likely to occur again. Now, if you told them to keep quiet and didn't pay them attention or give them the attention they wanted, but instead shut it down, then that's negative reinforcement. It makes the behavior less likely to occur. Same with when you let people to influence your life and to basically break your boundaries. You're positively reinforcing negative and bad behavior. You let's say somebody comes to your house and be like, hey, like this is not how you should be living. Do this, clean this out. And you allow them to do so and get away with it. The likelihood of them doing it over again is the same thing. Whether it's even including certain conversations, the way people talk to you in your life. If you allow somebody to talk to you in a horrible way and you take it without saying anything and speaking up for yourself, the likelihood of that happening over again is very high. People just don't change a behavior just like that instantly. It's a process. So you have to make sure that you're not positively reinforcing bad behavior, because otherwise you're giving people power over your life. Nip it in the bud and you speak up for yourself. And if especially like a friend or an acquaintance or just somebody that you can easily cut out of your life, if they don't respect your boundaries or respect the way that you want to be talked to, make sure that you are ready to separate it and leave it. Bad company corrupts character. I didn't say this, the Bible did. And so you want to make sure that you don't have people negatively impacting your life, your mental health, and the decisions that you have to make for your life. Another way you give people power over your life is staying in your comfort zone. Here's the thing, if you don't experience things, you're never going to be able to grow the way you should. And when you don't grow, sometimes you allow people to have power over your life because you just know nothing that's new. Like you don't experience anything new. And when you get out of your comfort zone, you grow. When I moved from Maryland to Texas, and I did not know anybody in Dallas, like at all. The closest person I knew was probably living like over 2 hours away. And that wasn't like a close friend or family. Like that was a church member. And my closest friends lived maybe 3-4 hours away. It's not like we're meeting up and driving over to, like that's not how it was. It was tough. It took a long time to adjust, but I had to do that in order to grow. And the growth I experienced in living on my own, in making my own decisions, just move my life towards the purposes that I knew God had for me and going towards the goals that I want for my life without relying too much on family and friends backup. Like it just gives you a whole new level of freedom. I can't even explain. Anybody who's made a hard move on their own, move to a place where they don't know anything, the growth that has on you, it's hard to experience if you've never had to make that move. So I'm not saying you have to. You can live in the place that you've always lived in. While that's a big move, there are other points in our lives where people are not moving outside of their comfort zone. Sometimes the people who are around you, like you're not able to experience anything new, any new thought process. You can't push back on something because you've never been anywhere. So at least try to travel, try new hobbies, try to read new books, try to do something else to open your mind and your heart and just your eyes to other things and different ways of life and different thought processes. Now, I'm not saying something circular or something really bad. I personally don't. And I choose to have a moral compass aligned with God. But remember, God made a big, beautiful world, okay? Travel it while you can, while you still have the strength to do so. One place doesn't have to be a forever place. There are multiple beautiful places in this world that you can open your eyes to go see. Get out of your comfort zone physically, mentally, emotionally, and try new things. The other way you give people power over your life is having a defeatist mindset. Now, I know that a lot of people go through trauma, events in their life that just makes them almost pessimistic or just feel like they can't go through. Sometimes you go through a very hard time and it almost beats you down to where you can't even see the other side of the tunnel. But remember that as long as you're alive, there is hope on the other side. There's hope beyond. There's a whole new world beyond that. And sometimes you just have to move, get out of your comfort zone, and find the bright places in the world for your light to shine through. One of the analogies I heard is like, what's the difference between a water bottle at, say, a vending machine versus like in a whole pack versus in the movies versus at different locations? Is the worth of it. If you go to Costco, you want like a water out of the machine, it's like 25 cents, maybe 50 cents at most, versus if you go to the movies, a bottle of water is like $5. The work vending machine, it's like $2-3. So depending on where you are, the value is different. Maybe you're in a defeatist mindset over there because your talents are not being accepted over there. But who said that if you move to a different state, if you move to a different city, a different location, your talent will not be recognized? Who says that your way of thinking over there, that maybe other people have been beaten down and other people are defeated, what makes you think that if you move outside, other people that may not be more accepting? So if your value is not being seen there, do not be defeated. Instead, make the hard move. A lot of problems that we have is because we want our cake and to eat it too. We wish to be surrounded by people who agree with us and people who love us and people who support us. And that's great. And a lot of people can achieve that. Finding people who support you and people who love you may be two different things. There are times where people love you, but they don't support your decisions. And maybe that you think that's the decision that is good for you. Maybe this is a business that you want to start and people love you, but they don't think they want to support that business. And that's okay. That doesn't make them bad people. That doesn't make them wrong. Maybe you just need to take your talents elsewhere. I know that's what I did for YouTube because I like to talk a lot about different perspectives of life, read and do research on things, and especially personal finance. I like to talk to people about personal finance, and I didn't want to give unsolicited advice to people or make people feel like, okay, I'm not badgering them with like advice about do this with your money, make sure you save, you invest. So I came on YouTube for people who actually want and seek that information. And I feel so much better because I don't burden people with like this information if they're not interested. However, for those who are willing and wanting to hear and are open to the ideas, I hope they find value in it. When I tell them about my experience with personal finance, what I've researched, it could possibly help them to better themselves financially. I really feel like I've accomplished the same thing, but it's better received elsewhere versus feel like I'm telling people what to do. Like that just never felt right for me. I don't think people want to receive the information that way. And it doesn't, again, make them bad people. It just makes them people with different thoughts and ideas on finances. And that's okay. And which goes into another way that we give power over our lives to people is lacking self-love. Your love should not be dependent on other people loving you. Remember that when you're created by God in His image and likeness, God is love. So you are love. And therefore, you're very capable of love, but you're capable of also receiving love. Just because somebody is not loving you right, or just because you're not getting the type of love that you want in your zone. Again, it goes back to sometimes moving out of that comfort zone and experiencing a different type of love. That's self-love. It's hard to love yourself when getting beaten down by comments or different things. Know that you are special and uniquely made. There is no one in this world that's exactly like you. And you deserve to live and you deserve to be loved. But most importantly, you deserve to love yourself. It's hard. Like, you don't wake up every single day and feel like 100% I love myself. It could be different things. The fact that you're not where you want to be in life, that you're in a really tough position. Sometimes you're surrounded by toxic people. You want to lose weight or you want to gain weight. But build your love on something that's stronger than that. For me, I definitely built my self-love on God. And so even though I don't feel 100 every single day, I feel better than I used to feel. Because I used to be so hard on myself. But now I realize that God made me who I am. There are things I can, of course, be better at. There are things that I always want to improve. Goals that I still want to accomplish in life. But those things don't make me who I am. My grades don't make me me. My job doesn't make me me. The way I'm feeling that day, the way I look that day doesn't make me and define me. So when you're able to build your self-love and your confidence on something much stronger than superficial things, you are able to sustain it much longer as well. And in sustaining that self-love, you are able to also cultivate faith. If you don't have faith in yourself and in God, you are giving out power to other people as well. And here's how you do so. Faith without works is nothing. You're just talking. But if you have faith that something's going to happen and you work at it each and every single day and you put your best foot forward, you can get into a different position that is better in your life. But if you have no faith and you don't think things can get better, and you're pessimistic because you don't think life gets better than this, you've basically made a decision. Choosing not to do better and to be better is a decision in life. And you have to be able to live with that decision. So have faith in being able to grow. If you're not financially stable now, know that you can be financially stable. Like, I'm not a multimillionaire, but I know in the future I can be, and I have faith to do so. And because I have that faith, I know that I should be living below my means. I know I should be saving. I should be maxing out my Roth IRA, my HSA, contributing as much as I can to my 401k, getting all that employer match, making sure that I buy and prioritize my needs versus my wants, to be able to live a nice balanced life, but not live beyond my needs, because I have faith of a better tomorrow, and I have faith that I can be financially stable and do financially well and provide a better life for my kids than I have. But if you don't have that faith, how are you going to put the action behind it? So have faith. Do not lack it, because then you're giving power to other people in the sense that they're basically determined, and you're able to take any ideology that comes your way. When I hear conversations about nobody can achieve financial success or financial freedom, or there's no such thing as being financially liberated, or there's nothing such as being able to retire. People are out here saying that people can't retire. It's no longer realistic. Says who? Who says that you can't retire or even retire early? Who says that you can't be financially stable to have a paid for car, paid for house, being able to have a fully funded emergency fund? Who says that? And what did it benefit in you feeling that way? Have faith that goes beyond other people's opinion, because that's when the real journey starts. And the next one is not planning for the future. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. A non-decision is a decision. And when you begin to think that way, you should begin to think about your future plans as well. And future plans, when you become an adult, can be hard, because nobody says what are your long-term goals, your short-term goals. And so you can go in life without basically having anything. Like, once you get a job, once you're settled in, it's like, well, what kind of goals do I want for my life? Maybe you want to get a promotion. What are you doing to make sure those goals come to pass? Don't get complacent in your situation, or don't just get comfortable and stay in that comfort area. Instead, think about how you can make your life better. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to go to grad school. I want to keep learning in my field and to grow as an engineer. I want to think beyond what I thought as an undergrad student. I want to think beyond what I know into what I don't know, and to be introduced to new concepts. And when I was talking about the stakeholder one, now that's not specifically engineering, but in the engineering context, like, that's huge. It's huge to know the stakeholders in your life, and you can apply things not just academically, but obviously I applied it in this video. And that's amazing. That's an amazing feeling, to feel like I'm learning, to feel like I am doing better mentally or academically and in my thought process than I was before. It shows growth. But then also I know that it's gonna do good things for my career in the future. So what kind of skills do you need to learn? What kind of path do you want to go on in the future? And what can you start today to do so? Maybe you want to lose weight, right? Let's say you want to lose 50 pounds. What are you doing today to get to that point in like a year or two? Because I bet you if you sit down and do nothing, nothing's going to happen. The results will be nothing. If you don't have goals, then how do you know whether you're becoming better or not? Because then any progress that you make is progress, but what's the measurements? Let's say you have no goals to retire or to save for retirement. You don't have a goal to reach $1 million in retirement by the time you're 40. Well, then when you get to 40 and you have 20,000, I mean, you didn't feel a goal because you never had it. But 20,000 at 40 for retirement is really bad. And for most people to catch up on it is going to be tough. Unless you make a really good salary, live way below your means, and just throw money in there for the next 20 years. So today, I choose to have the goals of saving for retirement and saving a portion of my income to go towards it. I have goals each year as to how much I want to hit. Maxing out HSA, maxing out Roth IRA is definitely part of it. And then contributing at least my employee match as part of it. That's one of my goals. Because in the future, I want to have the option to retire. I don't want to be working till I'm no longer in existence. And I want to leave a legacy to my family. Those are goals. The goals of me wanting to grow my career and to become those are part of my goals. So have goals and have something to measure it up to. When you don't have goals, then other people's goals become your goals and you give them that power over your life. Because if you don't think beyond for yourself, other people are going to do it for you. Other people will, certainly too. There are people who don't want to control their life and they are looking for somebody else's life to control. And if you don't have goals and expectations for yourself, there are a lot of people willing to do that for you. And that leads to my last point of thinking this is the best you're going to do. That is another thing that comes from a defeatist mindset. When you don't grow up in the richest environment, or when you don't grow up in an environment where people are like going way beyond and like you can see them like reaching their goals and seeing that they've grinded and they've gotten to a place that they've been working so many years to reach, then it makes you feel like what you're doing is the best that you're going to do. And that's really sad. That's a really sad mindset to be in, thinking that this is the best life he's gonna get. And I have a pretty good life, honestly. Like, I can't complain. I'm very content with my life. Like I said, I have goals. I'm working hard towards a better future for myself and for my family. I know this is not the best my life is gonna get, because I know that God says that he has plans for me, plans to prosper me. Like, so I know this is not the best it's gonna get. Life beyond gets better. I know nowadays I've been like very busy, stressed, because I've had a lot going on, not to mention the fact that I'm going to school, but I know life gets better. This is not the best I can do. I'm 23. This is the best I can do at 23 years old. So don't be that defeatist mindset that this is the best you're gonna do. Don't let people tell you that. Don't internalize what people are saying about you. You're uniquely made. Everybody has a purpose in life. Everybody has the abilities to work on themselves and to be better. Whether it's character-wise, financially, the way you approach socializing with people, you can always do better and you can be better. But you have to have the goals to do it. You have to not sit that defeatist mindset. Don't sit in your comfort zone. Don't give over financial power onto other people. Learn to rely on God and rely on yourself. And there are times that we fall that we need other people to help us pick us up. But strive to stand on your own 2 feet. Strive to be in a better position tomorrow than you are today. And strive to be a better person tomorrow. And you will take back a lot of power that you give to people in your life. So with that, I'm bringing this video to an end. Thank you all so much. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And let me know in the comment section, what other ways do you think that we give power onto other people over our lives? And have you ever gone through it? And what are you doing to become better and to stand on your own and to rely on yourself and not on other people's validation? Let me know. So thank you so much again. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring notification bell because I post 2 videos a week on Tuesdays and on Fridays. Come on over because there'll be new videos made for you. Thank you all so much. See you next.